How are you going to achieve those goals in 2023? It is New Year's resolution time. Everyone's thinking about it. I'm going to get back in the gym. I'm going to start pumping iron. I'm going to get swole. I'm going to explain to you today the three most important things that I used in 2022 to make changes, not even just of my body, but of my spirit as well. And that one, actually, I will tell you, is the most important of all. Firstly, I'm going to go over the number three and the number two most important things I did in the last year to change my body. So, number three, this may be a surprise to some: exercise. I only say that because at the beginning of this transformation, I was nowhere close to an expert or even really experienced with weightlifting. I had lifted weights before in high school, but did not see results like I was able to see this year. And number two, this one is the thing that really changed for me, that clicked, was nutrition. There's tons of YouTube channels out there, an overwhelming amount of YouTube channels that'll teach you the basics of exercise and the basics of nutrition. To give a little explanation of what I was doing as far as my workout program goes, from January till March, I was only doing body weight exercises. I did not touch a weight. It was push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups. And then from approximately March to maybe November, I was now lifting weights. I was doing a PPL split, which is push, pull, legs. So on the first day was my push day. I would do chest, triceps. Second day, pull day, back, biceps. And then the third day is supposed to be leg day. But because weightlifting was always secondary to my martial arts, on this day I would usually do footwork drills for kickboxing. I would do hip flexibility drills, the same ones you can find in the Shredded Samurai Complete Muay Thai Instructional. So I didn't really start lifting legs consistently until probably about August, I'd say. That's when I first started taking leg day seriously. But what is the number one most important thing? It is subconscious belief. It is elevating your level of consciousness. The way the universe works is we are all essentially an electromagnetic field that has spontaneous consequences to the way that we are perceived and the way we perceive ourselves. In order to achieve a higher level of consciousness, you have to go work your way up from the bottom. And I'm going to explain, as I get into my transformation, not just what I did physically, but more importantly, what I did spiritually to make these changes, because this is the most important message of all. What I love about martial arts, what I love about weightlifting, is that it can teach you about this practice itself, because as much as I'm sharing with you today, I still feel like I'm a student of this. I have no understanding compared to all that there is to be understood about this universe. And the reason that you don't have the fitness level that you want is because you are not that. It's not about going to the gym. It's not saying writing down on paper and telling your friends and family, I'm going to the gym this year, I'm going to the gym this year. No. You have to become a person who values your fitness and nutrition. That's the only way to achieve it. You can't just tell yourself, oh, this is what I'm doing, do it for a month, leave. It doesn't work that way. What you have to do is overcome the negative emotions that are going to arise as you start this journey. So I'll explain the negative emotions I was dealing with, and these negative emotions are not all bad. They are actually an essential part of building momentum to keep it going. But understand, if you don't leave the negative emotions, it will all crumble. It may work out for a year, may work out for 2 years, may work out for 5 years, but eventually, if you're still in that negative emotional state, it will fall apart. So the only way to do this the right way is elevating your level of consciousness. I'm going to show you a graph to try and explain it, and I really, really encourage you to do your own research, your own study on this topic, because my mouth is not going to be enough. This has to be something that you find in yourself. It's not something I can sell you. It is something that you must find within yourself. So with that, I'm going to throw this graphic up on the screen, and then I'm going to get into the transformation. I'm going to explain to you what I was feeling, where I was at internally, and then what I was doing externally. Alrighty, so what you're looking at here is the map of human consciousness, okay? We're going to focus over here on the left. As you can see at the very bottom, you have shame, okay? That is the lowest vibrational emotion a human being can experience, okay? This is most people who are in shame are not far away from being dead. They are isolated. Their karmic fortune at this point is not going to be very good. All right, as you move up, you move to guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, stress, anger, pride, and then courage. Now, courage is that emotion that we must find a way to get to because it is a demarcation point between positive and negative emotion. All right, so courage is where we now have subconscious power. We are now working with the power of our subconscious mind instead of working against it. All right, these negative emotions, when we integrate them to our subconscious mind, it stops us from making progress. So we have to find a way to overcome these emotions and let go of them. In my personal journey, I was in a state of apathy for at least 6 months, but honestly, you could say it was a year leading up to this transformation. You're going to see the picture, and this picture to me represents apathy. At one point, I had an intuition. Okay, I had it was not like a normal thought. It was just an intuition that I needed to make some changes, and it was overcome to me. I was overcome by this intuition, and I actually recall breaking down in tears. So from that, times we think of someone breaking down in tears, we assume it's a bad thing. But when it's an apathetic person, it's actually a good thing because they've now moved to grief. And grief actually has more energy power than apathy, if that makes sense. You see apathy at 50, grief at 75. Believe it or not, it's better to be grieving than it is to be an apathetic person. Beyond grief, I moved into fear, all right? That's when I first started taking the steps to get back into the gym. So when we're in fear, what we're fearing is the way we're going to be perceived by others. If you're going into the gym and you're not in great shape, it's going to be easy to think, oh, I look terrible, everyone's judging me. You've got to find a way to experience this fear and keep going. I was so lucky that I had my kickboxing background that I was comfortable enough just getting the routine of going to the gym and hitting the heavy bag and doing bodyweight exercises. That's all I had the courage to do with this energy level. This energy level of fear is only at 100, but I made so many connections there with my kickboxing career in that gym, and it's helped me so much. So you have to get comfortable with that fear, experience it, understand you will grow from it. Now, at this point in my life, things were still unfolding in a surprising way to me that made me extremely angry, okay? We have desire here. Desire is just the want to be in good shape. We want to get past desire in all aspects of life, but the only way to overcome desire is to have. So here's our first picture of the transformation. So this is my starting point for this transformation. You can say at this point I'm in a little bit of an apathetic state, but this is what I looked like when I was dealing with the fear and the desire and the stress of going to the gym. This is what I looked like, and I had to overcome that. It's easier than you think. Do what makes you comfortable. Be comfortable with where you're at, but experience that fear, experience that desire, and be willing to let it go because that is how you move into the next powerful emotion. And for me, that became anger. I had fiery anger. Anger like I've never experienced anything before in my life just because of all the situations that were occurring around me and the way I was perceiving them. I became extremely angry. And anger is actually not the worst emotion. It has a lot of energy. You can do a lot with anger, but you have to choose carefully because your anger can either be constructive or it can be destructive. The goal with anger is to use that anger to build something that we can be proud of. We know that pride is the devil, but it is necessary. So now this is March of 2021, or I'm sorry, 2022. That's me and my best friend Noah there. Noah is not even a friend. I consider him a brother because of what he showed me. By this time, I'd been in the gym for a little bit, okay? And because of my kickboxing skills, I had developed quite a bit of pride in myself. I knew that I was a dangerous fighter, that no one could mess with me even if I was small. But in Florida, which is this was supposed to be a little bit of a party trip for us to blow off some steam. Noah was still in the gym. He was still going to the gym in the morning. He was still making sure we were getting proper nutrition, protein shakes. And that's when I started to discover nutrition. And that's when I had the courage to say, oh, wait a minute, maybe I don't know it all. Maybe there is more for me to learn. And that is when I started to use my subconscious mind for me instead of against me. So again, build up that pride. And eventually, once you get there, you'll realize, wait a minute, I'm not even as good as I thought I was. I think a lot of people stay in pride for too long, and that's why it becomes their downfall. That's why you have to get the courage, because on this emotional journey, if you stay in pride, it will fall. You can have the best physique, but if it's all built on your pride, your life will not get better. I'm sorry, it just won't. You won't achieve things you want to do. You're not going to experience life harmoniously. And that is the ultimate goal of every human being. Every consciousness is to experience the harmonious nature of life itself. So in Florida is where I learned to have the courage to say, wait a minute, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me learn about nutrition, okay? So I learned about protein, okay? We need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. At this time, I was only 135 pounds, so I didn't need much protein, and I realized that I needed to be in a caloric surplus. I needed to be putting in more calories than I was burning off. And because I was kickboxing and trying to gain muscle, it turned out to be quite a few calories. And considering my high metabolic rate and body type, I knew that it was an uphill battle. I'd always been skinny, but I was going to start the transformation, my bulking process. And I'm very happy with the results. And I'm going to show you now the beginning here. This is April. This is after I started doing. So here we are in April. This is what I looked like in April. This is after I started the bulk. Now, remember, I spent every last dollar in Florida. So what did I do? I realized that a whole fat gallon of chocolate milk, or half a gallon rather, was only $2.50. So, yes, I did it. I drank a whole gallon of whole fat chocolate milk a day at this point. Wasn't great for my digestive system, but I said, screw it, I don't have any money, and I'm getting these calories in somehow, I'm getting this protein in somehow, and that is actually what I started making progress. I started getting bigger, and that is where it took off. I wasn't eating bison or ground beef like I might do now, but you have to go through what you have to go through. And for me, that was drinking a whole gallon of chocolate milk per day. It was brutal on the digestive system, like I said, but again, this is what you have to do, and this is what you'll have the courage to do if you're able to get past your pride. So as we get into May now, here I am. So again, look at the tiny little biceps on me, but at the time, I was filled with the spirit of courage. My mind was full of I can statements. I was telling myself I can do this. Now into, I believe this is about June. So by June, I'm starting to feel it more. I'm refuting all the negative suggestions. I'm starting to see a little bit of growth. You can see the chest is looking bigger than it was for sure in December, and definitely in March as well. I'm making progress again with the dirtiest bulking strategy pretty much known to mankind. But again, this is the type of thing when you have courage, when you're in that state of courage, you'll believe you can do anything. You really will. You will have that I can attitude. You're going to treat your subconscious mind like it is God. The subconscious mind is our God mind. It's what's powered us forward. It's made you as tall as you are. It controls your breathing. This is everything to you. It is that God mind, that subconscious. So at this point, you're going to start taking it seriously. You're not going to want to let people say anything about you, because you realize that whatever you accept into your subconscious mind is what manifests itself into reality. So that's why you're going to start taking not just your body more seriously and your health more seriously. You're going to take what you believe way, way, way more seriously. You're gonna watch what you say. You're gonna be careful. You don't want to say some things that are or accidentally gonna be a negative implication of your subconscious mind. You're gonna start to pray every night. I was affirming every night. I was praying. I was begging, please help me make progress. Please help me make progress. And slowly over time, if you stay consistent and you have the faith, things just start to work out. And about this time, I started to realize, wait a minute, it's not just about the fitness. This applies to all aspects of life. Uh, if you think that the fitness example is so powerful because we get to see it with our own eyes, but man, this laws of consciousness, these laws that rule our universe, they apply to absolutely everything in nature. So here we go. Now this is looking about July. Again, looking a little bit bigger in July. Got a nice suntan. At this time, I was not listening to anything negative. I was off social media, no dating apps. My circle was just about two people. It was two people, myself, and the gym. Just focused, complete focus on achieving my goals, exercising pretty much every day. I was overtrained. Here we go now. I think this is maybe late July. again, at this point, I'm becoming that. And here we are into August again. You can see the shoulders starting to be developed. And again, this is me becoming it. I start to value my nutrition. I value my fitness. It's not a chore. It's not something I have to tell myself to do, like, oh, let's go to the gym. No, this is what I am. I'm somebody who goes to the gym now. And that's what it takes, is just overcoming those negative emotions along the way. I ended up moving to a new house at this point, and actually living with some bodybuilders, and that was good karma because I was in this state. I was able to attract other people with similar interests that were going to help me grow, and I was going to help them grow. So that's the way life is improved when you're at a higher level of consciousness. Your life gets better automatically. Here we are into September now. The bulk at this point had chilled out a little bit. I was more focused on holistic nutrition. You can see the abs coming back. Again, I'm so skinny, so the whole time I've really maintained abs, just to be honest. So it's not all that impressive. And then the next photo here is December. Again, now my shoulders, my chest is so much wider. My arms are starting to get more developed. Still rocking the abs. My legs are more developed. And here you are most recently. This is January of 2023. You can see the V taper starting to form in my back. Such crazy progress. None of it would be powerful if it were not for my subconscious belief and my understanding that we have to transcend emotional levels to spontaneously create reality. That's what the universe comes down to. Most people, they never told you that in school, but it's the most important thing you can learn and teach yourself, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It says it in the Bible. It's not a physical low place, it's a state of mind. So there's me from the backside, and then eventually here we'll have me from the front as of January 1, 2023. I believe so. Here we are. There is me giving a little bit of a scream. Not necessarily a victory scream because there's so much more work to do, but man, you start to feel the gratitude. You start to feel so appreciative, so thankful that you've had this opportunity, that you had that intuition. I remember this is over a year from when I had that intuition that I needed to make changes. It was a long way. It was the hardest year of my life, but by far the most gratifying year of my existence here on earth in this lifetime. So there it is, guys, my 2022 fitness transformation. I know that I'm not looking like IFBB pro bodybuilder at this point yet, but again, that's not even really been my goal. It's like, for kickboxing, I wanted to bulk up so that if I wanted to fight at, let's say, 145 pounds, I could cut down there instead of feeling like I was walking around at 145 and having to face an opponent that would be bigger than me. So, what are the main takeaways? This was done. I didn't use any supplements. I probably could have used creatine, things like that, to speed up the progress a little bit more. I literally had, until about July, I had no money. But through this process, you start to realize your own power. It's not even your power. Like, the small self, which is your ego, that doesn't really have power. You can use your ego. If you're prideful, you'll have ability to affect action, but it won't be real flow, and it won't be long-term success. So that's why you want to try and get above that level of 200. Allow your subconscious mind to take lead. This is what I learned this year. Is like the Samuel that people know, the self. He's nothing compared to the universal subconscious as a human being that we're all connected to and we can all tap into. I treat this like it's my best friend. I treat it like I'm constantly thanking it that you have to, and that's what you have to do. It's like you must become fully committed. You can't have doubt. You must fully believe in it. So looking forward to next year, what do I plan to do? So I went from that picture in December. I was probably about 130 pounds. Came back in March at 136 pounds. And right now I'm at 152 pounds. So, from December to January, or basically January to January, if you break it down by date, gained about 20 pounds, which I think is pretty solid for a first year of really dialing in the nutrition and dialing in the weightlifting. And I think if you do it the right way from the beginning with the nutrition, making sure you get the protein and the calorie surplus, and you start hitting the weights maybe a little sooner than I did, even though I don't regret not hitting them sooner, because I needed to build up the courage. You have to build up the courage, and you have to get comfortable with the fear of being in the gym. So do what you got to do to get in there. to make it your habit, and then explode from there. Have belief. It's such an awesome process, and you'll learn so much more about just not just fitness when you're doing this. This is when I started to understand entrepreneurship. While I was going through this process, I started to realize, wait a minute, if this is something I can tap in and it carries me forward in fitness, where else can this impact my life? So if you got anything valuable today out of the video, please maybe leave a like, perhaps subscribe. Not that important. If you liked it, you should have done that already. Check out shreddedsamurai.com, guys. I've got fitness instructionals on there, martial arts instructionals on there, high athletic performance wear like I'm wearing right now. I hope you have a great week. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.